environmental impact of using silver iodide as a cloud seeding agent published scientific literature that allegedly shows, here we go, no environmentally harmful effects arising from cloud seeding with silver iodide aerosols, that have been observed, nor but of course, based on this work, the WMA finds that silver iodide is environmentally safe as it is currently, I like this, of course it's going to be safe. They're doing it, right? So why would they say it's not safe? This is the Weather Modification Association finds, let me repeat that, finds that silver iodide is environmentally safe as it is currently being dispensed during cloud seeding programs. So they kind of have a legal obligation to say that it's safe, right? Since they're already doing it. It's kind of a conflict of interest or ethics, It says, it is well established that silver in some forms can be toxic. Okay, so this is what I found here in a different part of my research area, and I'll explain how they do this, how they're able to, still be able to proceed with this. It is well established that silver in some forms can be toxic to lower organisms without being toxic to higher animals. And this was Kochbra, a scientist in 1968. He was researching this. Numerous laboratory studies have found that silver nitrate, and even silver iodide, when added to laboratory aquariums, even at trace levels, can be toxic to some fish and other aquatic life when exposed over long periods of time. And that was in 1978. Let's see here. It says silver iodide, a pale yellow, odorless, tasteless powder that darkens when it's exposed to light. Which would kind of make sense, right? Because when you see them spray, all of a sudden they lay the X patterns and they spread out and they react with each other, and then they get dark, right? That's right. How, it's kind of depressing actually, because you have a nice sunny day in the morning and then the spraying commences, and then all it's gone. And so that could possibly because of this silver iodide that says it's a powder that darkens when exposed to light. Let's see here. It says here, much like the back door that they have with the UN resolution that we were talking about in 1977 on weather modification, how we were saying that it's for civilian, it's not for military. They're able to openly dismiss previous studies, these two studies that I just talked about in 68 and 78, and they say that these compounds, they say previous research says it's not representative of the natural environment. They say these compounds are converted to less toxic compounds by the presence of other chemicals found in nature. These tests that they did initially were in aquariums, they were isolated, and they weren't out in the environment. They're saying that it's not representative of them spraying, throughout the atmosphere and it falling to the ground. And, that may be true. Like I said, we're not scientists here. And we're just going off different sides of research and views on this whole thing. So, but it's just looking at how they're able to get around things and maneuver their way past legal hurdles. This is another thing that I found, is how are they able to do this, and that's how they're able to do it. They just say, they come out with a report that says, well, you know what? We recognize your research and we dismiss it because, we don't think that it really has much of an effect on anybody because the research you did was in an aquarium and, globally. So, it's going to just disperse and disintegrate by the time it hits the ground. So, moving on here, it says, under the guidelines of the Clean Water Act by the EPA, silver iodide is considered a hazardous substance. This is by the Clean Water Act by the EPA. Silver iodide is considered a hazardous substance, a priority pollutant, and as a toxic pollutant. Chronic exposure targets organs. Chronic ingestion of iodides may produce iodism, which may be manifested by skin rash, right? That's what I was just saying earlier, but that's the kind of experience that I've had, which is the skin rash. running nose, which I've had, headaches, irritation of the mucous membranes. So you got that stuff in your throat, you got a headache, all symptoms that I've heard, friends and family complain about. Weakness, anemia, loss of weight, and general depression may also occur. Chronic inhalation of it or agraria, characterized by blue-gray discoloration of the eyes. It's pretty creepy. Skin and mucous membranes. Chronic skin contact may cause permanent discoloration of the skin. And that was from a National Park Service study in '97. Said continued and prolonged use of silver salts produces degeneration of the tissues, organs, and discoloration of the skin and nervous system impairment, large-scale paralysis, and loss of coordination, convulsions, and death by respiratory failure due to paralysis. That was from silvermedicine.org. So the next one is...
Hold that thought right there, Darko. We'll be right back. Let's take this break and pick up at the top of the hour where we left off. All right, folks, you are listening to The Cutting Edge every Saturday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Send us an email at digitaladdiction@gmail.com. Message us on Skype at digitaladdiction. Or visit the blog at digitaladdiction.wordpress.com. Stay tuned, everybody. There's more stimulating talk radio up next.